Good morning. I've been meaning to make this video for about 5 months. Figured better late than never, so it's happening. I did some research. I got a big long Google Doc over here that I'm gonna be looking off of about like how to get apartment, where do you search for apartment, how to secure apartment, how do you live in New York City, because it ain't easy. If you're new to my channel, welcome. So glad you're here. If you're not new, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself. I moved to New York City about a year ago in September of 2018. I had graduated from school in California, moved here, didn't really know anybody. I had about one friend, 2 suitcases. I was like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna figure it out. I originally moved into a sublet apartment for about 4 to 5 months in Brooklyn, and then moved on over across the bridge, across East River to the beautiful land of Manhattan. I essentially did all the apartment hunting on my own, figured it all out on my own, and so I figured I'd tell you guys what I learned, because when I was searching, I felt lost and hopeless, and I wish there was some type of like guide or helpful steps, but I didn't find a ton online, so hopefully this is helpful. If you are looking to move to New York City from scratch on your own, I would recommend you watch that other video I posted. I touch a lot on like finding a sublet apartment, how to move here, budgeting, how to make friends, all that good stuff. Let's just start at the beginning. I left my sublet apartment, I stuck my stuff in storage, I went home to California for Christmas time for about a month, came back to New York City to start hunting for apartments. No place to live, and it was a journey. So I had met a girl named Noelle when I first moved here. We decided, her lease was up when my subletting was up, and we decided to move in together. When I came back in February, she was gone for like 2 weeks and I had nowhere to live. Like I was literally sleeping on friends' couches while trying to hunt down an apartment. Not ideal. So I basically did all the apartment hunting on my own, which is fine, but I learned quite a bit from that experience. I saw probably, I want to say like 25 apartments. I know some people that find their apartment after like 3 viewings, and then some people have literally gone to like 45 apartment viewings that I know. I recommend honestly subletting when you first move here, or doing like an Airbnb rental for a month to figure out where you want to live. This is a video of little like 22-year-old me struggling to figure it out on my own, and hopefully it can help you guys if you want to do the same or are trying to do the same. I got you. I'm gonna just split this video into kind of like 3 different parts. We're starting with like the online search, the start, the beginning, the in-person search, so actually going and viewing those apartments in person, and then trying to apply and secure and move in to said apartment. First and foremost, I would say pick an area that you think you want to live in. I did my research before living in Brooklyn, realizing I wanted to live in Lower Manhattan. Brooklyn's great. You often can save money if you're living in like Bushwick or like Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy area, if you're a little further out from the city. The closer you get to the city, the more expensive it's gonna get. City meaning Manhattan. That's probably not correct terminology. This is all New York City. There's a bunch, 5 different boroughs. I knew I wanted to live in Lower Manhattan. I figured that out because I was like, this is where a lot of young people are. Artsy, there's great food, there's great style, there's great nightlife. It's just fun. It's a vibrant place to be. So when it comes to websites for searching for apartments, there's a lot. There's a lot of great ones out there. The ones that I ended up using the most were StreetEasy, Truly, and Zillow. I'm going to pull up StreetEasy on my computer and kind of show you guys how I used it and kind of some tips that are helpful. What's great is you can pick the areas. So if I'm looking in Lower Manhattan, we'll just keep it a little broad. Let's say you're looking for a 2-bedroom. What's nice is you can refine the search. If you're like, I need laundry in the building, what transit lines you want to be nearby. So I pulled up apartments.com as well. What's nice is they have this like little polygon feature down here, so you can just be like, okay, I know don't want to live in Stunttown. Okay, well, I'm not good at drawing, but you get what I'm saying. You can draw the area that you're interested in living in. The things that we took into consideration was price, the location, somewhere that's close to subway lines. For example, there's parts of the East Village that are a very far walk from any public transportation. So I wanted to make sure I was close to a good subway line that could get me around. Whether or not it had a broker's fee. I think it's important before going to the search, kind of picking a few things that are non-negotiable. My biggest things was I wanted natural light, I wanted a closet in my room, and I ideally wanted laundry somewhere within the building. The last spot I stayed at, I did not have a closet. Laundry was really far and hard to do, and that makes sure that all the rooms have windows, because you would be surprised how many New York apartments are so expensive and the rooms literally don't have a window and you feel like you're in like a cage. Now, jumping into the actual in-person search when it comes to actually wanting to view the apartment. So when you're looking at one of those websites, if you're interested in something you see online, you contact them, you set up a viewing time. Also, you can contact or be referred by a friend to a realtor. You can tell that specific realtor like your price, the bedrooms you're looking for, and then they'll take you to different listings that they have within the area. So that's one way of doing it. So I was looking in February, which is considered off season. So there's pros and cons to that. Pros being that it might be a little bit cheaper than high season, summer, early fall. I was looking in the dead of winter, so people were like, what are you doing? And the cons being there's not as many listings available. When it came to my search, I essentially knew every single thing that was posted. On my computer at all times, I'd have like StreetEasyApartments.com, Zillow, at least 3 tabs open, constantly refreshing to see what apartments were available. If a listing is good, it can be up for 24 hours. Someone signs that day and it's gone. So you have to be on it. So it was constantly refreshing. I was constantly contacting different realtors. Yes, it was stressful. Yes, I had 1 or 2 panic attacks. Yes, I got really tired of sleeping on couches, but now I have a great apartment, so it all works out in the end. So some videos of some of the apartments that I was looking at to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we were working with. I really like the location of this one. It was quite pricey for so little space. So you can see like that's the living room. You could barely fit a couch in there. This tiny little kitchen, there's a little bathroom. This was considered the bigger room. The closet was minuscule. You could barely fit a full-size bed in there. And then this was the other room. And this room you could only really fit a twin-size bed in. And the window was looking out directly into a brick wall, so you wouldn't get any natural light, which is very common for New York. That was the first apartment. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be harder than I thought, that it was that expensive and that small. So this is another spot that I was like, we could maybe make this work. This one's in Soho. Again, you could only really fit like a couch in the living room. The room was super small. Again, you could probably only fit like a twin size bed, but the location was like a high selling point. This room was a little bigger, a nice tiny little kitchen, which is pretty classic. So seeing that one, I was like, maybe we could make it work, but I decided to keep looking a little longer. This place was one of those cases where the guy had a photo online and then showed me such a different apartment. So here you can get an idea of what the apartment looks like, you know, with clothes and furniture and all of that. Obviously, it's kind of messy. It's quite cramped, but you know, enough room to get by. Didn't love it. So there was 2 apartments that we almost signed on. They weren't great, but I was getting desperate. One of them was this apartment. The size was amazing. It was in the dead center of Chinatown, which Chinatown was great, but that's not really where we wanted to live. Chinatown can get very loud. There's a lot of unique smells because there's a lot of like open like markets, like fish markets and veggie markets out on the street. So you kind of get hit with a wave of interesting scents and sounds. I have a lot of friends that live in Chinatown, love it. It depends if it's your cup of tea or not. You can see the like hallway area. It was kind of falling apart and looked like it was a little haunted, but the apartment itself was actually the biggest by a long shot, which I was like falling in love with. The bedroom was massive for New York standards, which I was like, okay, I see you. And it had space for like a couch and a dining table. I was shook. But my roommate wasn't there when it came to signing it, and she didn't want to live in Chinatown. So that was kind of the biggest reason why that didn't end up happening. I'm actually quite glad, because then I eventually found this apartment. So last minute, we're like, let's just look at a 3-bedroom. Like maybe with a 3-bedroom, we'll find a 3rd roommate. We can increase our price point. I looked, I found a 3-bedroom that looked okay. The photos weren't great online. We went and we fell in love, and that's our current apartment. So here you can see it in its, you know, glory, it's empty glory. Here's our kitchen, a nice living space. This ended up being my bedroom. Really big by New York standards, like space for a queen bed and a dresser, and there's a closet. And then there's a slightly smaller bedroom, an extra closet, and then the bathroom. I think we like immediately looked at each other and we're like, oh shoot, this could be our apartment. We didn't have a 3rd roommate. Noelle ended up posting on her Instagram story, and literally Noelle's friend Natalie from California, she's a model. She was flying into New York that night for New York Fashion Week, and she had been trying to move to New York and was going to be looking during her trip here. Ended up coming straight to the airport, saw the apartment, and said she liked it. After that, we went to like a late night coffee shop, filled out our applications, sent all the information over, literally like within a few hours of seeing the spot. Now kind of jumping into the 3rd part of securing a spot when you find something you like. Huge thing I recommend is just having all your paperwork ready in advance. So if you find a spot you like, you can submit your application and all your documentation immediately because stuff goes so quick. In my case, the documents I needed was my driver's license, a copy of my credit score, I think my last 2 bank statements, also a note from my employer. Because I'm freelance, I got my manager to write me a letter basically proving that I have consistent income. Also, be prepared, you usually have to pay an application fee. Since you have to prove such high income for New York City to be able to secure an apartment, a lot of people use guarantors. For me, this is the first time I was able to sign on without a guarantor, which was a very proud moment for me. I'm adulting. So there was 3 of us on the lease, me and then Noelle's guarantor and then Natalie's guarantor. 3 of us combined, we have to be making 40 times the rent. And also when it comes to paying for the apartment off the bat, it's freaking expensive. You're gonna have to have some cash on hand because there's very often a broker's fee. You usually have to put down a deposit and first month's rent. So in our case, our combined apartment is $5,000 between the 3 of us. So we had to literally put down $15,000 in one day, which is just crazy. So keep that in mind. You do kind of need some money on hand. I think our application was accepted the following day. We ended up signing a day after, and then we moved in 4 days later, and now I have an apartment. I am stoked. I love my apartment. It feels like home. I love my room. I love my roommates. It worked out. It wasn't without trial and error and some pain and some tears, but we made it. I hope this was helpful. If you're moving to New York, I believe in you. Good luck. It's a great place to live. It's freaking expensive. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. I will try to get to all of them to hopefully help you out. I'm so grateful for YouTube. It's my job. I wouldn't be able to get to live in New York City if it wasn't for you guys. So yeah, thanks so much for sticking around. Love each and every one of you. If you're new, love you too. Thanks for sticking to this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Until next time.